Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to welcome you to the second day of our. The conference is hosted by Za Zemiata, Friends of the Earth Bulgaria, in collaboration with CE Bankwatch Network. I'm Svetoslav Stoikov, and I'll be moderating the event today with the assistance of my colleague Ivailo Popov. We will briefly go over the technical details of the Zoom platform we are using today. So you can choose to follow the event in either English or Bulgarian. Language switching is accessible through the interpretation menu below at the bottom menu of Zoom. Uh, each presentation is going to last for approximately 20 minutes, and then it's going to be followed by a Q&A session. And you can always pose questions to the presenters using the Q&A button or our social channels. The conference is being live right now on YouTube and on Facebook at Za Zemiata's platforms. And as an event organized by a Bulgarian NGO, we give particular importance to local matters, even when we make an effort not to. So we really value the understanding of our international viewers as we engage in discussions about Bulgaria, acknowledging the significance of addressing local perspectives and issues. You can find the full program for the conference at energiazahorata.com, which we can place in the chat. And the entire event is being recorded and will be made available in the public domain afterwards. So you can always revisit some specific details about the presentations, or if you have missed the event, you can still watch it later. So today we are going to focus about one-stop shops and what are the challenges, what is the situation about one-stop shops in the European Union and what is happening in CE countries. We're going to have three presentations, starting with a presentation giving us the overview of what is happening around one-stop shop at the EU level. And then we're going to have two local examples for one-stop shops from Bulgaria running one-stop shops. And then we're going to have a short break and continue with a roundtable, a discussion panel, where we are going to discuss the significance and the importance of one-stop shops and how we can use them as a tool for building renovation around the region. We're going to have representatives from the Bulgarian Ministry of Regional Development and also representatives from a Polish organization, as well as a couple of organizations from Bulgaria. So we can now let's get started, and I'm just going to introduce our first presenter. This is Jenny Claire Kielman, and she has more than 10 years of professional experience in supporting local climate actions at the European Secretariat of Climate Alliance, which is a network of nearly 2,000 cities, towns, and districts, as well as provinces, NGOs, and other organizations from across Europe. She has strong conceptual and practical experience in supporting local and regional authorities in their sustainable green transition, supporting networking, collaboration, and co-creation among European municipalities. She managed various projects related to energy renovation and energy efficiency in residential buildings and small and medium enterprises, including participative approaches. And she is currently coordinating one really interesting EU-funded project. It is called EU Peers, which is aiming to set up a community of practice for integrated home renovation service practitioners. Today, she will lead us through the intricate landscape of one-stop shops in Europe. And so, Jenny, the floor is yours. You can share your presentation and we can start.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the introduction. Good morning and a warm welcome also from my side. So, my name is Jennifer Keilman. I'm working for Environmental Alliance, and I have the pleasure to give you some insights in the one-stop shop movement in Europe. So you already heard something, a few words about me, but I would like to spend one slide about the organization before diving into this topic of one-stop shops. So as said before, Climate Alliance is a city network dedicated to fair and comprehensive climate action. It was founded in 1990 by a bunch of cities and NGOs. And since the beginning, we have a close link to the Amazon basin and the rainforest in the spirit of a global responsibility for the earth and the climate. And one fact maybe that is relevant also to know is that members, when becoming members, public authorities, local or regional authorities, commit to reduce their CO2 emissions. So this is the network behind, and as was said, we are a coordinator of a very exciting European project. This is why I'm able to present here, give you some insights. It is called EUPeers, European Practitioners for Integrated Home Renovation Services. And this is why we have some insights into this movement. So today, I would like to start with a one-stop shop concept. So really basic, explain what it is, what it is useful for. Give you some information about the European regulatory framework that is really changing these days, you can say. Then some spotlights about the one-stop shops in Europe, and I will finish with a few slides about EUPeers. I will also start with EUPeers because it is providing the frame. Just to say that it is the centerpiece of EUPeers is the establishment of a European Committee of Practice. We would like to support the development of integrated home renovation services through this Committee of Practice. And this is, can say, a synonym for something that we know better, a one-stop shop for residential energy renovation. So you can use you will find the both terms now, but it is more or less the same. And the idea is really to support members of the committee to make ambitious home energy renovation simple and accessible to residents. And it is, for us, it is a key instrument to accelerate residential energy renovation. But not only for us, we also see this in the European policy that there's a lot of support for this tool. So why is it useful, necessary to set up a committee of practice? Why do we talk so often about one-stop shops? Because really, there is a problem that we all know. Just to start the presentation with, what is the problem? The problem is the mission impossible of the home owner's journey for deep energy renovation, especially. Because most homeowners are not experts in the field, don't have time, and so there's a lack of capacity to set up and supervise a renovation process, and also to finance the project. And we have a fragmented and uncoordinated market offer on the other side, not only on the demand side, but also the supply side. And the one-stop shop can be the actor in the middle to bring both sides together and to work on the barriers. So we can also say from complexity to simplicity, the local one-stop shops are there to help. So one-stop shops are often a physical and online platform that accompany the homeowners through the journey as much as possible to make it simple, tailor-made, and accessible to all. On the right side, you see an example from a project illustrating the different services a one-stop shop can cover. So from the engagement, coordination of the process, the renovation and financial plan, to the guarantee of the results. Here on the right, you see another illustration of the renovation journey that is more complex, that is describing three categories of one-stop shops, but it is a quite familiar can say, famous graph. That's why I thought it is useful. You can see the steps from 1 to 10, the steps of a normal renovation journey of a homeowner, from information about the recommendation, the project design, the financing, to the renovation works and the quality assurance. And in Europe, we find a lot of one-stop shops, and they're not covering all steps, but several steps, different steps. And Adrien Bullier and Christophe Milin, working for Cinea, set up these three types of model that are used very often. So the advice model, support model, and implementation model, saying that the advice model are those one-stop shops who cover mainly the first part of the journey, so the information and simplified diagnosis. The support model are quite strong in the middle part, so the financing and the selection of companies and project design. And then we have those models that provide the full package, you can say, of services along this journey, the implementation model. So they go from the beginning until the end of the journey. And this is quite helpful to understand because it has an impact on what model you would like to implement or you choose. It has an impact also the type of structure you are when you set up a one-stop shop. So for example, we can see that public authorities and energy agencies are particularly strong in the first part, in the upstream parts of the renovation journey. So we see often these entities working in the awareness raising and the first recommendations, because these are very important players in a lot of European countries. They are trustful agents. So the recommendations and to start the journey is very key to have public authorities here. And there, on the other side, we see that private companies are more represented in the support and implementation model, so along the whole journey, because this is also where you can generate income. And we can also say that the more ambitious the energy renovation is or should be, the more elements you need to implement, especially deep renovation, the more support you need along the journey. So you need a model that goes really, the entire journey is easier if you do a complex work. Then here we are talking about local one-stop shops, but there are also other one-stop shops at national and regional level. So we see this in different countries, national organizations, authorities that offer information to homeowners about the necessity, what is possible, and so on. And here we can really see that the complementary approach, you can have a local one-stop shop, but that is supported also by the work of a regional or national one that do maybe the kickoff phase or the starting phase. So you can also have different types of one-stop shops in a region. And a last point that is, I think, quite interesting, that a one-stop shop needs really to be adapted to the local context. You cannot just replicate a model, because the building stock where the one-stop shop is acting, the urbanization rate and the housing ownership structure has a clear impact on the products, on the strategy of the one-stop shop. So this is why we have really a strong diversity of one-stop shops, depending on the ambition, the structures of public-private structures, and the model. Now, this is what I want to stress here. And because I think that the majority of us now are interested in the role of the public authorities in a one-stop shop, I included this slide showing that there are different opportunities for public authority to be involved or have an ownership in a one-stop shop. We can think about, for sure, of being the owner 100% of the one-stop shop, but there are also other models where the one-stop shop is a co-owner of financing the structure, or it has no impact. And also in the involvement in this structure can be different. So it is not just in or out, but you can really think about different collaboration models, steps. And with a bit more time, I could present you for each European example. So they're really examples for all possibilities. But just to show that there's also here a diversity. So the diversity is great. To give to show some recommendations, what we hear often, I structure them according to the steps of the renovation journey. So you know what other would recommend to a one-stop shop that is starting. First is really to look at the renovation triggers to reach and activate the right target groups. You really need to have a specific communication to a specific target group. You cannot just have a general messages. You will not reach anybody. And then the question is, do I want an online or on-site one-stop shop? Here also, often the combination of both elements is crucial. You need to find the right balance between efficiency and impact. Efficiency is the online part, but the impact part is really when you talk to the people. It takes time, but this is nevertheless a key element for convincing people. It is clear that when we talk about households affected by energy poverty, this means more time in assistance. So we need more time in this impact phase, in this visiting the houses and having an exchange then for homeowners that are already convinced by the need and the will to do this, and that they have the financing also good situation to do this by themselves. Also, though, it's a recommendation for private one-stop shops mainly. So be simple with your one-stop shop and be transparent. If you're able to include products and prices, you can make it more transparent and have a 3-time higher impact. So you can really convince and make it much more easier if the people see since the beginning, what do I select and what does it cost? But it is clear that this is quite challenging in these times with the building sector where prices can really vary. And finally, we also learned that the quality of the works, to ensure the quality of the works at the end, is particularly relevant if you work together with banks. If the banks are involved in the financing, it is good that you can really show that you are also looking at the results and that they will be an energy saving at the end. So the quality of the works is not only for the homeowners quite relevant, but also for other parties involved in a one-stop shop. So after giving an insight of the tool that is a one-stop shop to accelerate the energy renovation, now an insight into the policy context. 2 directives are very crucial here. It is the Energy Efficiency Directive and the Energy Performance of Buildings Directive. I started with the one that entered into force last year, and we have a transposition time of 2 years. So next year. I took some quotes. I thought show you some quotes that are quite interesting, I think. In the recitals, so in the introduction of the EED, it is clearly written that the contribution of one-stop shops should be recognized. So it is really that we need a recognition of the structures, and so far, in a lot of countries, we don't feel this. So this is good to hear that the contribution of the one-stop shops should be recognized in the process. And here also the EED gives even a definition what they mean by one-stop shop. Here it is a single point for provision of advice, guidance, and information. So if you look at the models of before, you see we're more in the first model of a one-stop shop, if you look at this definition. So then here the member state shall establish dedicated one-stop shops to provide technical, administrative, and financial advice. Interesting, it's a bit later because it is written that those facilities shall provide holistic support to all households Also here highlighting households affected by energy poverty and worse performing buildings, and that the one-stop shops should provide support covering the different stages of a retrofit project. So here we have a stronger, it is not only covering the beginning of the journey, but also goes into the other models. Article 2022 gives also insight saying that one-stop shops should provide information about qualified energy efficiency professionals. So create the link between the demand and supply side, and should share experiences and make them publicly available. This is also very interesting, especially for us. And one-stop shops should connect, in particular, small-scale local projects with market players. This is also interesting. And Article 29 is highlighting the independent market intermediaries. So really the independence of these one-stop shops when giving advice. Then the other regulation is the Energy Performance of Buildings Directive that was adopted yesterday. So it is brand new. And now it is transformed. It is Article 18 that is relevant here for us. It is really going to the same direction like the EED, saying the member states shall ensure the establishment and operation of technical assistance facilities, including inclusive one-stop shops, to target all actors involved in the building renovation. And then we have an interesting list. This is the obligation part of this regulation. Member states shall ensure that these facilities are available by establishing at least one-stop shop. And then we have 5 options that are very interesting because they are according to different criteria. The first, you see, it is related to the number of inhabitants, 80,000 inhabitants, or you can set up a one-stop shop looking at the geographical scope, so per region, or you look at the building stock, so in areas where the average age of the building stock is above the national average, or you look at the policies in the country, so in districts where integrated district renovation programs are, or the last option is in a location that can be reached with less than 90 minutes of average travel distance. So you see, also here, we will not have the same way of implementation in the member states, because you see that really it opens a broad interpretation of this obligation. Again, here in this directive, we also hear the emphasis on providing holistic support to homeowners and cover different stages of a retrofit project, and also highlighting the independent advice and the service for vulnerable households. So it covers really both in both directives. And here you see from the introductory text, I'm not sure it is in the last version, but it was in the version before. It is quite interesting what they wrote. That's why it is here. In the introductory text of the directive is described the role of a one-stop shop according to this directive. And it's very interesting because, it gives really some information what is wanted. So to connect potential projects with the market actors, to ensure the coordination of supply and demand side, to help building owners and managers, to help cities also. Here the link to the programs, to the strategy of the cities, to prioritize worst performing buildings, to encourage citizens, to search for contractors, and to navigate through tenders and quotes, and to provide support during the renovation. So you see a lot of help. So this is the one-stop shop. And we have here more an expanded role of a one-stop shop. So it's not only the classical model, giving just looking for awareness raising, giving information, but also you can have a stronger role to play. So after this policy overview, let's have a look into the situation in Europe. What I haven't said, I said that we are coordinating the project EUPeers with 11 partners together. What I haven't said that is that we started just a few months ago. So unfortunately, I'm not in the best position to give you an overview. In 6 months, it would be much better. I'm really eager to know this also. But we are performing at the moment a mapping of our one-stop shops. We are drafting best cases, but they're not ready yet. So it's unfortunately it's a bit early. So I am really thought about what can I present you, and I thought to start with this map. So this map is an attempt to show you one-stop shops in Europe. So there are different researchers saying that we have between 50 and 100 one-stop shops in Europe. It really depends on the definition you're using. If you look, for example, at national, regional, local one-stop shops, at public, at privates, so it depends on this. Also, the available information. Do you find really all one-stop shops? And other one-stop shops are the structures aware that they are one-stop shop? Because we often have this situation of entities providing at least the first model of information or trying to do to accompany the homeowners, but they're not aware of this movement. So this is also something to connect. Because here a lot of dots here popped up with the European funding, but not only European funding is behind these dots. We have different sources, so the movement is also quite diverse. And then I thought instead of showing you some case studies, because we will hear two later, I will give you insights into other countries. How is the situation for one-stop shops in other countries? I think it is really revealing. So let's start with France. France has since 2013 a definition of public services, including advising households. So, but they have a quite complex and evolving legislative and regulatory framework. It is changing really every year. The two key public services they have is a Espace Conseil France Rénov'. It is a national platform, can say, with representatives and all over the country that give, you can say, the first information to the homeowners. So it is the entry point, you can say. And since this year, we have Mon Accompagnateur Rénov'. It is a network of fee for service but subsidized accompaniers. So you can say there are really single agents acting as a one-stop shop that accompany the homeowners. And if you want to have access to specific bonus subsidies, you need to contact such an accompanier. So you can see that in France the model is quite advanced because they really work already in this on the one-stop shop implementation. But what is really specific in France that 10 to 15 years ago, regions and local authorities set up third-party financing companies that have also a legal definition, and they have the possibility to accompany and offer direct financing. And they have the situation of being a trustful third party because they are controlled by local and regional authorities, and they are at the same time players in the competitive market, and thus they can offer the whole renovation journey. And they want to offer the whole renovation journey because they say, if I finance this renovation activity, I would like to be sure that the process is really good. So this is why I offer both the financing and the accompany along the journey. So we have third-party financing in France. They're quite strong. In Ireland, the situation is different. We have a really ambitious target at national level. So the target is to retrofit 50,000 homes to a building energy rate of B2, so A the highest. So this is why they set up also a program for one-stop shops, and the Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland is the key player, you can say. It is a key player for all registered one-stop shops, for the grants, for the homeowners. And they set up an official definition of a one-stop shop. And it is helpful in order to process grants. And so they are funding through the one-stop shop. So, and in Ireland, we have around 18 one-stop shops at the moment, and they are all run competitively, and they're not independent. I added the logo here below of our partner in Ireland, the Southeast Energy Agency, to highlight the difficulty here in Ireland, because our partner Southeast Energy Agency is a one-stop shop providing the entire support along the entire renovation journey, but is not recognized by the national state as a one-stop shop because it is not fitting to the definition. The definition in Ireland is targeting private one-stop shops, and Southeast Energy Agency is a public one-stop shop. So this is why they are in the difficult situation of being one of the oldest or most experienced one-stop shops, but they are not recognized anymore. So this is another situation. Here, Latvia and Hungary, also I included this both to show they're a bit similar, that in Latvia, for example, one-stop shop is not used in the Latvian legislation. And you cannot say there's a significant limitation for one-stop shops in Latvia from a legal point of view, but there's also no lack of awareness or lack of awareness of the one-stop shop concept and demand for energy renovation. So it's quite difficult to develop a one-stop shop in Latvia. In Hungary, also, we don't have a definition of the concept of one-stop shop by law. But there are some one-stop shops. The one is funded by the government and one by the Hungarian Chamber of Engineers. Then we have an EU-funded project, Renopont, that was set up and provides advisory services. And we have also a few private companies, but they do not consider themselves as a one-stop shop. So also here, not a clear context. And I wanted to finish with the Netherlands because I think it is quite impressive. They have around 25 private one-stop shops, and 10 of them are providing the full service package. But in addition, they also have public one-stop shops, and they have local energy communities that start expanding their work and providing services in the field of building renovation. So we have really different players here. And the Netherlands had a strong national insulation plan with 1 billion euros for 2 years available for municipalities. And quite different than from, for example, Ireland, where one national institution defined what is a one-stop shop. I have the feeling that in the Netherlands, there's a quite much stronger exchange and collaboration between the different levels and players in this field. For example, with this national insulation program, the municipalities have a lot of money available, and they came together at the level of in some regions, at the level of the regions, and organized tenders to implement this measure. So they do official tenders and rely then on the existence of private one-stop shops who are then implementing the insulation programs for them. So it's very different than in the countries showed before. So you see really the diversity also. Every country has a specific situation now, and let's see what it will be then with the transposition. So what we can see that the definition at member states level is crucial and needs to come. So we need also a definition of what is a one-stop shop at member states level. You also saw that there are really also examples that it is not always good defined. You need also to include the ambition of the structure in this definition. So do they only provide advice? Do you only want to change heat pumps, or do you want to accompany, or do you aim at deep renovation or stronger insulation? Then you need other structures. And I think what was visible is that multi-level governance is important, that you need to collaborate between the different levels between the local, regional, and national authorities when you transpose this directive. Okay, and then I would like now to finish to give you a few slides, show you a few slides about EOPs, because I think there is the space to continue the discussion about one-stop shops if you're interested in. So the purpose of EOPs is to build a helpful and vibrant community. So that is an inclusive community, and that can provide space to exchange, learn, and collaborate, to facilitate the dialogue between all these one-stop shops and those who want to be a one-stop shop, who wants to support the movement. So we would like to strengthen and to upscale the one-stop shop concept. So you see, we have a 3 years project, European project. We want to set up a European community of practice in Europe. It is quite challenging. So we defined an approach with a focus on 6 countries: France, Italy, Ireland, Spain, Hungary, and not only in country, but a region, the Baltics. So we have these entry points, and we have a transnational community platform. So these platforms are key entry points if you want to participate, because they meet regularly. They speak, in most cases, in the 6 cases, in the national languages, and they speak about topics that are quite specific. So for you, you would be invited to join the transnational community platform with other one-stop shops from Europe. What do? We try to provide opportunities to exchange and to network. So we have really regular meetings at the platform levels for one-stop shops. We have an annual gathering meeting event in Brussels. And we have a digital tool, a kind of mini LinkedIn, where you can show what you're doing and also ask questions, get in contact with other one-stop shops, and see the movement growing. We would like to provide capacity building. So we have specific working groups on topics like energy poverty, like marketing, like what tools to use, and so on. So it is a great offer. And what is really important to highlight, that is based on the needs of the community. So we really would like to reflect and jump on the needs that we see in the community. We also are setting up a mentoring program for all the starters, with the support of the experienced one. And last point, our ambition is also to do advocacy work. So to give visibility to members by showcasing what they're doing and the impact of the activities. And we're organizing policy debates at different levels and roundtables also with market operators. And the official kickoff of the community of practice will be on the 11th of June in Brussels. So it's our first big event. I really invite you to join us. It is during the Sustainable Energy Week. Yes, OISEF. Yeah, I hope Sustainable Energy Week. Yeah, the European Sustainable Energy Week. It would be nice to see you there. And just to tease you a bit here, because the next meeting of this transnational community platform I mentioned will be on the 18th of April. I just show you here question raised by the participants in the community platform, questions that I would like to get answers with us. So, for example, what services should a one-stop shop incorporate? How to get the financial body into the partnership. I think the one that raised this point is also present here today. How can we support one-stop shop to find skilled workers? How to raise awareness and increase the citizens' trust in one-stop shop? What tools are available for one-stop shops? And how to bring motivated homeowners and approved contractors together? So these are really practical questions. If there's something that, if you have the feeling this is also something you would like to know, then I really invite you. It is for free to join us in our next transnational community meeting. If you're interested, here's my email address and my name, and just drop me a message, and we can give you the link. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you for the insightful presentation. It was really interesting, and we are running a little late with the time, so I'm just going to. And
Sorry.
we have a couple of questions, so I'm just going to ask one or two of them. And the first one is about the directives and the Article 18 of Energy Performance Building Directive.
Mhm.
It seems that the European Parliament has set the rules for the establishment and operation of one-stop shops. And when could we see this rule being implemented in member states? Do we have some certain deadlines? And could a member state decide which type of these five elements that you mentioned, because it was a list of 1 to 5,
Yeah.
should implement on a national level? This is the question.
Yes, thank you. Um, if I'm not wrong, the time for the transposition, so for the translation of the European directive into national law, is again 2 years, like for the one before. So adopted yesterday, in 2 years, it should be transposed in national law. And indeed, the directive gives really some space. You have these 5 options. Saying, look at the inhabitants, look at the regions, look at the cities, look at the travel distance. So it is the variety is really broad of what you will do, but it's really the moment. It's really the moment to make some noise. I would say, yeah, it's the moment to show that there are already some here. Show what is working, what is not working, and what is needed. Because we had this example really from Ireland where there was no communication, it was not fitting to the situation in the country. There were also good examples from other countries, but yeah, I think we at the moment to show that to discuss about the implementation and to show that we are present as partners to collaborate here. Yeah.
And the second question, really, really quickly, it's how can we foster cooperation between one-stop shops, local and regional authorities, and how we can actually create interest in the subject. This is the question.
Yeah, this is difficult to this is difficult to answer, but this is also one element of Europeans. We plan to design a campaign on how to have a list of arguments for public authorities saying why should I support the establishment of a one-stop shop. So what it is, why is it useful for me, and from a perspective of a public authority, what does it bring for me? And especially to use this tool to implement the targets that are in your action plan. This is what I hear often is one way to convince them that it is a key tool to accelerate the renovation rate.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your participation, and we'll definitely be in touch because it's really interesting what you're doing.
Thank you
And
very much.
yes, thank you. And right now, we're going to go into two presentations of already existing one-stop shops on a national level here in Bulgaria. So feel free to stay because it's going to be interesting. I think that we're going to have the presentations in Bulgarian language. So if you want to follow, just click the interpretation button. So I'm giving the word now I'm going to switch to Bulgarian. I'm going to give the word to Ina Karova. Ina Karova, експерт по устойчиво развитие.
She is a sustainable development expert at the Energy Agency of Plovdiv. Ina is leading projects focusing on sustainable energy development and smart cities and communities. Her expertise is aligned with the necessities of the local authorities for local energy leadership, and her engagement with them reaches beyond sustainable development to citizen inclusion and empowerment in the energy and climate policies. She will present the multi-home project for one-stop shop in the region of Plovdiv. Ina, you have the floor. Thank you, Svetoslav. Today's presentation is of the pilot, the one-stop shop in the region of Plovdiv. It is called Multi-Home and consists of a hub and a platform for cooperation of stakeholders in the sphere. And the idea is to maintain the level of home renovation in the region, or even to accelerate this. A few words about the Energy Agency and our role in the project proposal, which we have done. As regards the one-stop shop, the Energy Agency is the first Bulgarian energy agency, which was created under the SAFE program of the European Commission in 1999, more than 25 years ago. We are working with local authorities for improving energy efficiency and introduction of renewables in local communities. We are a scientific and research organization. We have more than 60 successfully implemented projects with local authorities. We have found the Association of Bulgarian Energy Agencies, and we are member of the European Federation of Energy Agencies and Regions. As regards the multi-home, this is a long road that has been walked in our agency. It started more than 10 years ago. In 2012, we were project manager of the renovation program in our region until the time that it was transferred to the municipalities, and the activity of project managers was discontinued. In the meantime, we became a replicator of the one-stop shop in the Padova FIT. We participated in individual projects for integrating individual RES installations in residential and public use buildings. In 2019, we became the manager of the program for changing the heating so that solid fuel is not used in Plovdiv until we reached today, and we formulated the multi-home project for the creation of one-stop shop in home renovation in Plovdiv region. We have a vision for one-stop shops for public buildings in Plovdiv, and now our activity has to do with integrating services for renovation of both residential and public use buildings in the entire region. As regards multi-home, this is a project which is coordinated by the Energy Agency of Plovdiv. We're partnering with Plovdiv municipality, and this is pilot for the development of the service. We have 3 partners in the project that deal with different segments of stakeholders on the market. The Chamber of Commerce and Industry will work with businesses for renovating business buildings. Quadro Synergy are going to work with financial institutions and the Association of Owners of Business Buildings. They're going to work with citizens. The last organization is going to work with citizens. Now is the time to thank all organizations which express their support for multi-home. These are all municipalities in Plovdiv municipality, the Ministry of Energy, of Environment and Water, the Ministry of Regional Development and Public Works, many businesses, the academia, and all of them said that our project is very good. Now, what is the situation in Plovdiv? It is not different from what is happening in Bulgaria as a whole. Plovdiv is the second largest in territory, population, and buildings. It consists of the municipality of Plovdiv, which is the second largest municipality, and 17 other municipalities. In in the region. The housing is aging, and we don't have a lot of buildings which were approved. They were under 1%, and under 5% of the residential units were renovated with the help of the national program. Unfortunately, we don't have private sponsored overall rehabilitation of whole buildings. In our case, the buildings are at the low energy class. They are multifamily buildings with many owners. Usually, the measures for energy efficiency applied are partial, only for individual residential units. We almost don't see introduction of RES. Let's not mention about more modern energy efficiency solutions. On the level of the region, we also lack strategic planning for the renovation of the building stock. We are lacking a sustainable development and climate plan such that many municipalities adopted, and this has a barrier, an obstacle for the overall planning and implementation for the renovation wave. But the main challenge that we're trying to overcome is that without state funding under the national program for renovation of multifamily residential building, the renovation wave, neither in Plovdiv nor in Bulgaria, will happen, because in reality we lack sufficient funds on the market to help implement the renovation in the housing sector. In multi-home, we are offering a different approach for developing the one-stop shop. On the one hand, we will create an integrated service for house renovation, which will see experts in energy efficiency and RES meet individuals, authorities, and financing institutions, so that the owners can be facilitated in their renovation journey. In this way, we'll try to maintain the level of building renovation in the region, the same that would be if we had the renovation program, and we are going to strive to achieve even improvement of the renovation wave, meaning not only the existing projects but also making and having new renovation projects being implemented. The second element of our approach is to make the service multi-home a permanent model of cooperation between citizens, businesses, and the authorities. In this way, this model of cooperation will facilitate the creation of new business models and, respectively, financing instruments in order for us to maintain the renovation wave, irrespective of whether there are public grants or not. In yesterday's session, we commented on the role of public funding, and we said that it is not enough for everybody, and therefore we need to have alternative financial tools.
Парадоксално но звучи, но ние се стремим да децентрализираме услугата едно гише. Нали, по презумпция едно гише означава едно място, където са всички услуги. Но при нас услугите ще бъдат разпределени между различните пазарни участници, така че когато гражданите се нуждаят от консултации и искат да я получат, те да я получат в най-квалифицираното и най-подходящото място за такъв тип консултация.
They are going to be able to receive it from the best place.
Така и частта за фасилитиране и частта за реализация.
That means that we are going to to have a ready-made service covering all needs. We are going to have a cooperation between the different energy service players in the region. And on the one hand, we will have a comprehensive service, one-stop shop comprehensive, and also qualified expertise that will provide all answers to the citizens. We believe that multi-home has to work with all interested parties, not with just one part of the market players, which are key in the renovation wave, which is why we will work with each group. We are going to meet them in different meetings and formats so that they can exchange information, questions, inquiries, reach an agreement between each other so that we can see more building renovation project implemented. As for the citizens, so we are going to work with energy poor households in multiple and single family buildings. We have prepared a multi-home platform for them. We will present them with a list and a catalog of services that we can offer in our cooperation. We have organized fairs, demonstrations, various events where the citizens can find their respective service providers and plan their building renovation. We will provide them with a list of trusted providers, and we will organize special workshops that would show them what is the right building renovation and what they can find on the market in terms of ideas and projects so that they can achieve full renovation of their building instead of the partial window framing renovation as we see. We also will connect them to the various construction companies, energy auditors, and various institutions which are relevant in the process. We will meet them in a forum on the market for renovation where the business and the institutions and experts can meet and discuss what they can do to attract people to use their services and products so that the building renovation market in the region can be revived. These businesses that we will be working on will create a trusted service provider label, which will show them what happens with the providers and how their services are better than the average for the market, how they stand out. We will organize training for these experts and professionals on how to work with the citizens, to attract them, and to offer comprehensive services that provide something much more than the traditional renovation. Last but not least, we are going to work with the authorities as we see their role in the energy renovation process is huge. They are the ones that create the policies and pave the way for the one-stop shop service. Without them, it will be a real struggle to revive the market and change it in a way that meets the needs, the renovation wave. Which is why in Plovdiv region, we organized a consultative council that will create a roadmap for all buildings. As already said, we do not have something like that in Plovdiv region. This roadmap will pan out the needs of all of of old buildings and will set a time framework, let's say 2030 or later. We'll put them in a debate on how the building renovation policies and the one-stop shop can be better articulated at the national level, which will help the transposition process of the directive and the better formulation at the national level so that it paves the way for other regional services to be implemented. We are also going to work with the other municipalities in the region so that they can open one-stop shop centers in their regions and connect it to multi-home as a regional hub. And we will create a program with workshops for the smaller municipalities that have the smaller capacity and experience in energy consultation for buildings so that we can develop multi-home at a regional level. What are the expectations from the implementation of multi-home? First and foremost, this is the cooperation model between the various interested parties. Without the correct coordination of the market players, things cannot happen. Multi-home is a one-stop shop service that is a model of cooperation between all of us. And in order to provide high quality service, information, and capacity to the local authorities, the matchmaking between the user and the provider is happening within the cooperation model. Our goal is the model to support the market. What supports the renovation wave in Plovdiv is the national program, but the national program will not continue endlessly and will not have the 80 or 100% intensity. Then the renovation wave will slow down, and in the end, it might even stop. On the other hand, multi-home will try to prevent this negative scenario. In the framework of the multi-home cooperation, we will develop new models of doing business, and providing funding so that we can avoid the risk with state funding and all its shortages. I want to mention here that having a national program that has been going on for decades was the one that suppressed the development of other business and financial instruments on the market. And when the national funding stops or is no longer that accepted, we need a leverage that could drive the market models so that we can see other financial approaches for financial renovation. Our cooperation will be dressed in a hub and a platform so that the people will have both a physical office for building renovation and the electronic hub and platform that would provide them with the required services. And last but not least, multi-home aims at providing better information to the people, better capacity among the businesses and local authorities, so that we can have a constant campaigning and information provision to the wider public to serve the needs and for the benefits of the cooperation they can use on the market thanks to multi-home. Multi-home renovation together is serviced by Plovdiv municipality. We do everything together so that we can achieve the best results for all parties on the market. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your presentation. There are several questions I will ask. The first one is, when are the citizens of Plovdiv municipality expected to be able to benefit from the multi-home service? When are you going to have the online platform up and running, and the physical office where they can have their receive consultation? Even now, we are providing consultations to the people. The process involves filling in application form for a consultation, specifying the specific services which they need, using a catalog of services, and depending on what they point as a service, the consultation will be either on-site or by phone. There are also services that require an on-site visit by expert, so that in every given moment, the residents of Plovdiv region can submit such an application on paper or electronically. As for the platform, it is under construction, and we are planning to launch it in early autumn, so that all these services will be available electronically. But at this stage, we offer the paper application and electronic application. The platform will digitize the process. Thank you. One more question about the business models and the instruments available. I guess you are going to integrate in some way the banking sector. Can you tell us a little more? As I said, this is under construction at the moment, because we are trying to include both businesses and financial institutions. The discussions involve this private renovation, as we call it, and how this can be funded. What we mean by private is more conversationally a renovation of a building that is not being funded on a national level. What is being discussed are different options between the businesses and financial institutions on what they can offer as a payment scheme, a price list for the citizens that will be convenient, that will be affordable to both the homeowners, and to be possible in terms of providing a good quality service. And whether this should be a two-side agreement between the homeowners and the service provider, to reach an agreement on how the building renovation should be paid off, or to have a support, as already said, by a bank institution. For the banks, this sector is underdeveloped. It's an interesting niche, because they provide funding for buying new homes, renovation, home renovation, and this area is familiar to them, but this is not formulated as energy efficiency, and they do avoid working with multifamily buildings, as is the renovation program, because it is difficult to work with many people at once. But this dialogue is currently successful in finding options, payment options for the service using the private funding service.
Thank you. Last question. Have you planned targets on number of households reached, number of residential units achieved? Do you have such targets in the project? And are you considering the long-term development of multi-home? Yes. currently we have such targets for households, not only serviced, but households which reach the last stage of renovation. And after the project, we aim maintaining the renovation rates, and with time these rates will be outside the scope of the national program, and it's the important task here is to maintain them even once no funding has been provided, because now we have national funding. But yesterday we discussed that to an extent the 100% grant scheme from the national program stifles everything else on the market. And unfortunately, Bulgarians have a certain mentality of only looking short term. And the moment it became clear that the grants will not be 100%, but 80% and even less, we are not ready with the question about co-funding and who will pay the difference. Public funds will never be enough, irrespective of where they come from, who is providing them, and what the intensity is. Public funds will never be able to cover the entire residential sector. And the other funds from banks, they bear interest, and Bulgarians are not trustful. Bulgarians don't wish to take loans, especially to renovate their home. So we need to design such models that citizens find affordable and can trust. Thank you for the answers to these questions. I want to congratulate you for what you're doing, especially for the roadmap on the building renovation for Plovdiv region. This is key for all the other regions in Bulgaria. And we'll continue. Can I have an interjection? The success in this case is due to the fact that all municipalities in the region are members of the Consultative Council and have the political will for this to take place. And for us, this is the good news. Thank you. We're going to continue the discussion later when we have a round table. And now let me present the next presenter, Tsveta Naneva. She's the executive director of the Bulgarian-Austrian Consulting Company, and it is among the few providing one-stop shops for improving energy efficiency in multifamily buildings. She is active participant in the creation of a methodology for working and practical application of the model of one-stop shop as one of the mandatory prerequisites for the success of the transition from 100% grant support to co-financing model for energy efficiency renovation in the residential sector. Within the conference, we will see a presentation of the experience of BACC with the one-stop shops for owners of multifamily buildings applying for the national recovery and resilience plans deep renovation program. Thank you. I will present a very different model than what was proposed just now. And I will start by saying that we call one-stop shops comprehensive service centers, and we're going to make an effort to replace the name One Stop Shop with Comprehensive Service Center. And as we heard in the first presentation, it is very useful for the first type of service, which it boils down to awareness raising, informing the population, and in raising the awareness of people about the benefits and opportunities of energy efficiency renovation. While in our case, we have the experience and we're trying to popularize the practice of comprehensive service centers in support of policies by the state, which will develop from now on in a mixed form of financing. By the way, the background of such a one-stop shop and of our practice is in the year 2009-2012, when we saw the implementation of the first project in Bulgaria. At that time it was not called One-Stop Shop. It was a demonstration project by the Ministry of Regional Development and Public Works under the UN's development program with 50% co-financing. By the way, it was very successful, and all the funds provided by the ministry for developing the model of renovation with mixed source of funding was within 50 buildings throughout the territory of the entire territory of Bulgaria. At that time, I was heading this project under the UNDP, and my team happened to move to BACC. And that's why we are so successful, and we have the confidence that we can contribute a lot to the imposition of this model in Bulgaria. Back in the day, public resources were also used, but the idea was the same, that we not only need to provide information, but we need to provide services throughout the whole journey for supporting the owners in order for them to pass through the entire model and reach success. We had a successful method design project, and we designed the methodology for the next phase of the energy efficiency renovation, and we were project manager, which was an equivalent to the one-stop shop principle. So with time we have gained not only experience, but also we participated in the development of the methodology for working of these services, because indeed we believe that if the necessary prerequisites are created for people, on the one hand, for people to be facilitated, being provided information about services, but on the other hand, for the access to funding to be improved, then things can very successfully happen. Later, this project, however, was intermitted by the political decision to have 100% grant provided by the state. And now we expect that things will develop and that the model of mixed source funding will be revived, which is in line with the EU policies. The mixed funding model is more appropriate, and it had to be returned with Project 9A from the National Recovery and Resilience Plan. And I tried to give you the grounds for this step, to tell you that we need this mixed funding model, so it should be included in the policies to come on the national level, And now I'm going to tell you what we're doing and why we are proudly saying that we have the confidence that we are helping for the development of this model, not only for the territory of Sofia with the Shirinov project that I'm going to review shortly, but as a continuation of Shirinov Plus, which is for the creation of a network of such centers for comprehensive servicing, but in the context of the Bulgarian policies and the Bulgarian programs for co-financing. Now, new rules were placed for owners. They have more responsibilities. If the owners are to apply, there had to be a home owners associations with energy audits, technical surveying. In the next stage, 20% co-financing, and in the process of implementation of the proposal for investment, if it is approved, they should assign all of the activities outside the construction, and they should have investment control throughout the whole process, from the application to reporting, because later they will bear the sanction for having financial corrections if something hasn't been done following the rules. In other words, the owners are required to have certain knowledge and skills they lack. We work in one-stop shops, and we are qualified. However, for the owners to pass through the whole process, they need to know the requirements for application. What are the eligibility criteria? They need to know the requirements of the Condominium Management Act in order to take lawful decisions. They need to be technically competent in order to assign all of the services which are needed. In other words, the technical surveying, the passports, the energy audits, the investment project, authors, supervision, what you can see on the screen. So these are competencies and which are very specific, and one cannot just read all of the legal documents and have this knowledge or make a statement of works the way it has to be done for a technical surveying. So they need to use consultancy. This has been recognized by the Ministry of Regional Development and Public Works because there is an opportunity to use consultancy services in order to facilitate the journey for the homeowner. And it is these services that are provided using the principle of one-stop shop. Furthermore, we have a requirement for 20% co-participation. With this 20% own participation, the interesting thing is that those who have applied during the first stage of the program now come to us because at that time, municipalities, after they applied before the municipal administration, the homeowners associations had no other responsibilities. Well, now, those who apply and who have not been shortlisted come to us and say, what is this 20% co-funding? They have no idea that things have changed in the meantime. If they're applying now, there is a shift of responsibility from municipalities to the homeowners associations. And all of these activities can be within the sphere of competence of experts, the experts who work in one-stop shops. What's more, as I mentioned, the owners should have the capacity to exercise investor control throughout the whole process, because the guidelines mention that the beneficiary bears the responsibility for the quality and lawfulness of the documentation throughout the entire process of finding the implementing party and ensuring the quality. So the owners will need support. Probably we will discuss this later, but we need to consider that these are services including highly qualified people, and only after the owners start using them will they recognize how invaluable they are and why they need to be paid for. But it's not by chance that in the European guidelines and regulations we see the use of public-private resources more and more through partial payment for these services, so that the owners who choose to use consultants can be partially reimbursed for this type of service.
Която ние разработихме по проекта Share. Както виждате тук,
This is the slide that shows the share and offer concept. This is as you can see, the center is the intermediary, which should give the opportunity to the homeowners while renovating their homes to be able to choose the contractor. In the past, the contractor was chosen and shows the good practice because these are cumbersome procedures, and in the future this should follow the market principles. And as we saw yesterday, the changes in directive opens the opportunity for the creation of many such units, so that the homeowners will have a choice, and the quality of the service will be much higher. The one-stop shop requires coordination with both local authorities, because the first information that the homeowners received for energy renovation or which are the businesses that could provide such services to the homeowners. And this is not about lobbying, but providing information about the structures, the legally approved structures that could provide building consultation on the energy renovation buildings. This consultation should be provided by the local authorities, and they should be the ones that have control over the process, the implementation of the process, especially in the private business. It should be the one that provides the services throughout their implementation. I said that I will present our services in the context of the national policies. Renov process started a reform in the energy efficiency. The project was approved, includes the fact that it will include the local authorities, the homeowners, local authorities in the model of building renovation in a co-funding regime. But then we adopted the easier approach, and the reform ended with assigning competencies such as providing information to the regional information centers for European funds. That is the model underwent significant changes, and that was the regional information centers provide only information, also provided information provided by the public authorities and consultation. Our cooperation with the Shiranov project resulted in expansion of the concept of the one-stop shop service. Sofia municipality created an energy efficiency center where it provides free of charge information to the citizens, which is a little more than the one provided by the information services that I have already mentioned and are provided by the regional information centers. Our company is a partner to Sofia municipality and the energy efficiency center, but in parallel, our company, based on its experience and its participation in previous projects, is also a consultant providing complex services, providing paid services to the citizens, which are part of the co-funding, part of the national program. Based on the Shiranov project, we work with through agreements with the regional administration, because without their cooperation, we would be less effective. What do we do? I'll be brief because we are short of time. What are the services that we provide? More specifically for citizens, for which we have largely developed guidelines under the Shiranov project, so that we can train under the extension of this project. We provide legal expert consultations for the creation of homeowner associations and taking decisions, which is very important when it comes to the funding regime, because every decision could be appealed if it's not well formulated, and then it would result in negative consequences for the homeowner associations. Our role is very important in this process, because we overcome the opposition, because quite often the homeowners start with one opinion, but after being consulted by experts that answer to all of their questions, this is an intervention that helps a lot to change their opinion and receive more agreements on the part of the homeowners in the building renovation. We prepare the whole documentation for the application process, and we provide all types of services, administrative services that are necessary for the application. The technical expertise that we provide starts from the assessment whether the building is admissible and is compliant with the rules of the respective program. We also provide technical and financial assessment of the building and the condominium resident units, which is necessary so that we know if they can cover the required co-funding, and we can either offer a quotation or do the technical survey of the building and provide a technical passport for the participation in the program with the corporate aspect. One of the key activities related to the application process under such programs is the establishment of budget and the assessment of the financial share of every homeowner, because they cannot make an informed decision to participate if every homeowner is not aware of the exact amount they will owe in the future. It is not enough to follow the approach in the application process. We can have two homes, one with energy efficient window framing, which does not require change of window framing, and another home that needs that. And these two homes will have different budgets. Therefore, this activity, which is the most often in demand, because we provide not only all the services in a bundle, we also provide them individually. We have a price list for each service, and we can provide each one of the services individually. The project management, the investment control is for activities that we are going to expand during the implementation of the national program. We provide also assessment of the achieved results, because unless we achieve the required results, there will be sanctions which will bring negative consequences for all. This is the overall review of our services. And besides what we provide during the renovation, which gives quite precise prognosis of the energy audit. This also provides assessment of funds that will be saved. It provides a list of the measures that need to be taken, the estimate cost of the building renovation, and the average cost per household and individual homeowner in the respective building. And lastly, I want to draw your attention on the fact that even those that were able to provide their own organization and apply in the first stage need consulting services from a one-stop shop, such as the ones that we provide, if they want to apply for the second stage of the program, precisely because some of the responsibilities under the first stage, which were implemented by the municipalities, these responsibilities are transferred to the owners on the second stage. And in order to be useful to them, we signed an official agreement with the regional municipal administrations for cooperation. We are not a big company. We also made a commitment to 5 regional administrations, which covers over 40 of the applications from Sofia, and all the applications filed in Sofia are total 65 from 24 regional administrations. This is the most powerful indicator about the need to use such services. And as I already mentioned, one of the most important services we provide is the establishment of a budget And even if they have such budget developed under the first stage by the municipal administrations where they applied, we revise this assessment because it turns out that there is a problem with the fact that the home owners apply in the first stage, they were not aware that this includes the replacement of the entire window framing, and now they do not want to pay for the window framing. And this has led to the issuance of a new certificate, and which is why I have put that in red on the slide, because this is one of the important activities of the one-stop shop, namely to identify such problems. The other problems we have encountered due to the new responsibilities that have fallen on the homeowners is the decisions and protocols from the homeowner meetings and the recommendations we made and that were formulated together with them. This is a declaration for financial commitment and all the commitments related to the 20% co-funding. On the one hand, this makes them aware of the commitment, and on the other hand, they know they will be aware of how to raise the money, because there are no financial mechanisms to provide the funding. And on our part, we want to ensure that in the process of raising the funds, their interests will be protected within the homeowners association. There is also we are also intermediaries between the homeowners associations. We are equally removed from them and the authorities. We protect both the public interest and the homeowners who have entrusted us with being intermediary with the local authorities.
This is the last slide of my presentation, and I'm going to tell you about the Shirenov Plus project. And it is an expansion of the Shirenov project, with which we placed the beginning of a network of such one-stop shops, which we call comprehensive service centers. We started with 6 such centers in 6 towns, and we tried to cover the territory of the country. We hope to complete the project within the next 3 years with at least 6 cities. The business operators are different in the 6 different cities. The idea is, at one point, to make a comparative analysis of the business models and see what is working, what is not working, to give recommendations to the next operators who would like to join this model in order to take maximum advantage of our experience. We have utility companies and a municipality in Gabrovo, which partner with the university. We have private companies from Stara Zagora and Burgas, and an NGO in Ruse. This is the Bulgarian-Romanian Chamber of Commerce. Apart from transferring and adapting the results from the previous project, another important activity has to do with developing online platform. This platform will be the first access of potential beneficiaries with the renovation scheme. They will learn what the options are, what financial support they can get. They'll be able to calculate the price of the services necessary. They will see what financial support they will need in order to decide whether to turn to the centers for comprehensive services or the one-stop shops in order to get initial information from this platform. The other important function of this platform is to accumulate the databases which will be in the foundation of the data centers, and this will be as a source of additional revenue for these data centers so that they can ensure their sustainability in the future. As regards the sustainability of the future, and maybe I'm answering your potential question, these centers, in our opinion, shouldn't and cannot be maintained only from such an activity. That is why all 6 institutions or business operators or organizations which participate initially in this network have been chosen in such a way that they have other activities so that they don't rely for incomes only from this activity. Thank you for your attention. I guess that since we're running behind schedule, the questions will be left for the discussion after the break, but I'm ready to answer them. Thank you for your presentation. Yes, we only have one question which would be relevant for the discussion, so I'm going to leave it for later, for the discussion panel. This was a very interesting presentation.
Now I'm going to switch back to English, and we're going to take a 10-minute break before the round table that we're going to have next. So you will have the chance to stretch, to get a coffee, recharge, and we'll be back in 10 minutes. And at the beginning, before starting the roundtable, I would like to feature one of the videos that we did about the functioning one-stop shops in Bulgaria. And so we're going to highlight the example of the one-stop shop or the complex energy center in renovation center in Sofia that Sveta and her team are running. So we're going to see a short video and then we're going to continue with the roundtable. We're going to see each other in 10 minutes. hands to stretch out a little bit and now we're continuing with our program. First, as I mentioned, I'm just going to quickly, before the start of the roundtable, to quickly share my screen and to show you a video. Just a second.
Услугата едно гише е изключително
The
важна.
one-stop shop service is very important if we want to renovate the building stock in our country. Having the lack of a one-stop shop deprives the citizens from receiving specific information on time about the application process. The one-stop shop allows the people, the focus of expert potential on the topic, experts that are aware and informed about the application system and provides a systemized information to all applicants. As an example of how important one-stop shop is, I will give you a project under Horizon program. Sofia is in front of the best performing city. This is Burgas.
На второ място пред първенеца Бургас.
Sofia is second place after Burgas.
I'm sorry, we're experiencing some technical difficulties. We are going to try to show the video at the end of the roundtable. So now I'm going to stop the shared screen, and I'm just going to quickly introduce our panelists for this roundtable. Just a second. So now we are at the end of our second day, and now we are going to have a roundtable about one-stop shops, the case of one-stop shops as a tool for decarbonization of the residential housing sector. From today's presentation, we have seen an overview of the situation in regard to the one-stop shops on an EU level. We also saw two examples of one-stop shops for building renovation in Bulgaria. Now we're going to have roughly an hour for this discussion panel. I just want to remind you that, to remind the audience that you could leave your questions for the participants via the Q&A button in Zoom or as a comment in our live streams on YouTube and Facebook. So feel free to ask your questions. And I'm going to quickly introduce our panelists. I'm really glad to have Angelina Boneva from the Ministry of Regional Development and Public Works in Bulgaria. And she's a long-standing specialist in the field of European funds and development programs. And since 2022, she has been acting as the Director General of the Directorate for Strategic Planning and Programs for the Regional Development at the Ministry of Regional Development and Public Works, after which she was appointed as a Deputy Minister in the same ministry. She graduated in philosophy, political sciences, and economics from Oxford University and completed a joint master's degree in European affairs from the University of Graz, Bolzano, and the European Institute of Public Administration. And again, since June 14 last year, she was appointed again as Deputy Minister of Regional Development and Public Works for the second time. The political situation in Bulgaria is a little bit strange. The second panelist that I'm really glad that we're having today, it's Justina Glusman. I hope that I'm pronouncing your name correctly. You're going to say if I'm not. And she is the managing director of Fala Renovacji, the Association of Renovation Wave in Poland, where they are promoting energy efficiency improvements in the building sector. Previously, she has been a sustainable development head coordinator at the Warsaw City Hall, and she graduated from the Warsaw School of Economics with a master's and the LSE, where she obtained a PhD at the political economy at European integration, as well as executive master in cities. And since quite a lot of years, she is involved in projects related to green transition at a local and regional level, climate mitigation and adaptation policies, regional policy design and implementation. Ina Karova and Tsveta Naniova, who had presentations before, are going to join the panel too. Ina Karova is from the Energy Agency of Plovdiv, and Tsveta Naniova is from the Bulgarian-Austrian consulting company. And both of them are running one-stop shops in Bulgaria. Our last panelist, but not least, it's Dragomir Tsanev from NEFECT, who is the executive director of the Center of Energy Efficiency NEFECT and official representative of the Municipal Energy Efficiency Network Eco Energy in Bulgaria. He is coordinator and team leader for NEFECT in more than 30 international cooperation projects and member of the advisory board of the International Passive House Conference at the UNICE group of experts on energy efficiency. I'm happy to welcome all of you, and we're just going to start with a couple of questions. And firstly, we saw that there are quite some changes were made with the official definitions with the EPBD and EED regarding one-stop shops on a EU level. And so I really want to ask our panelists today, do we have an official definition of one-stop shop in Bulgaria and in Poland? What is the official definition and what are the differences? This is something really, really interesting to understand and to start with.
And who is the question for?
Maybe you can start.
Okay, I can start. Hello, good morning, everyone. Thanks a lot for invitation to this very interesting conference. I did not understand fully the presentations, but I try to get the main points as our languages are not that different. So starting from the Polish, perhaps, situation, we do not have fully fledged one-stop shops. There were various attempts to provide some sort of advisory services to people willing to renovate houses, but these were like establishment of the training experts, of the advisory experts network with the Polish National Environmental Fund, which has educated more than 1,000 of those experts. However, this project, it was financed by 130 million euros by the EU funds, has not actually bring the results that were expected. And we, as Fala Renovacji Association Renovation Wave, we have analyzed these previous attempts, and also we have created proposal of assumptions for the future system to be implemented in Poland based on these experiences. And also, as you mentioned, I have an experience from the local level policy making, working as a head coordinator, basically in a function of the deputy mayor of Warsaw. I was in charge of mitigation, climate mitigation policies, and we did establish sort of one-stop shop to help our citizens to acquire funding for the exchange of fuel stoves, the coal stoves mainly, and well, other renovation services. So basically, the key point is that we believe that there needs to be a state involvement, a national level involvement if the project is to work and to be long term and to have a long term financing as well. Actually, the EPP directive requires then national authorities are supporting with public financing these one-stop shops for a few years at least. Maybe then the business model can assume some sort of payments from other sources, like the corporate money or the companies that actually benefit from the advisory services. But our first statement, the conclusion is that there needs to be a state involvement. The project that we have made, either by the self-government or by this national agency that I mentioned, the National Environmental Fund, they were linked to particular streams of funding within particular EU programs. So, for instance, we have this Clean Air program, that's the largest program that supports the renovation of fuel stoves, as well as homes insulation. And these advisory services were linked to this program. The self-governments, local self-governments like cities or municipalities, they have their own programs that, as this national one does not always fit the particular local needs, and then they link these services, the advisory services, to these programs. We believe there should be some universal approach, a place where citizens can get advisory services with respect to all technical issues, but also with respect to the available grants and support programs, no matter which is the source of money, whether this is the EU money, whether this is the commercial loans, whether these are the municipal programs related to particular location. So that is missing. And of course, one of the issues is, in Poland at least, is that these programs are in a way competing with each other. So as citizens of Warsaw can choose between the national program, local program, some other financing, but we are not having a system when all of these money create synergies between themselves. So basically, universal approach is one thing, and advisory services concerning all available assistance should be available. We do have a problem with data. So, for instance, we cannot manage the policy also at the local level because we don't have a proper data on the building stock and on the technical condition of the building stock. And the government, our Ministry of Regional Development and Technology, has started making the database and trying to put all the available data together. But that's still a long way to go. And I believe also this would be important for the one-stop shops in order, for instance, to help small municipalities that do not have capacity to run through the renovation program themselves, even with respect to their own buildings, as they do not have basically administrative capacity, the people, and so on. And it's a huge barrier as well. So we believe if we have a network of institutions like one-stop shops, they should serve both private and public entities, also like the small self-governments. We also believe they should have a common standard. So people all over the country should be entitled to get similar level of service, of advisory services, no matter where they are located, but not necessarily public institutions have to run these physical entities like one-stop shops. So standards should be compulsory for everyone, but then self-government could commission some NGOs, some group of private companies, the banks, to carry out services as long as they keep the standard and as long as the scope of services is being maintained. So it would be some sort of licensing idea. So now we are basically opening a new chapter, and we are waiting for the government's move with the new EU funding. I don't know if you're aware, but Poland did not use and utilize the EU funding for recovery at all, and also in the current financial perspective because of political reasons. And now we have a new government since the mid-December, and the money has been basically mobilized, and the first streams of funding from the EU started coming to Poland. So one of the tasks is to create this complex and basically comprehensive as well system of advisory services. We hope for that. We speak to the government about this kind of structural approach, as we believe that also looking at the EU examples of the one-stop shops, we have analyzed the activities that were conducted in various member states, and basically we believe that there needs to be some sort of stable support of the government, and the program this kind of network needs to be linked to some also national laws and regulation, perhaps linked to the implementation of EPPD now. Otherwise, these are singular initiatives, and they often finish when the streams of money from some particular EU program, for instance, finish. And we want to have some long-term solution, because long-term solution also will allow business to improve capacity, to increase capacity of production. We have a huge problem with the workforce availability for the housing renovation. So business also needs to have some security and the trajectory of the housing renovations to be able to increase their own capacities, to work together with the government, perhaps on retraining, on provision of appropriate workforce to conduct renovations, because that's one of the bottlenecks that for sure we will have on the road. So maybe that's enough for the moment.
Thank you a lot for this comprehensive answer. And now I'm going to give the floor to Ina Karova.
За дефиницията, нали, това беше първоначалния въпрос.
Regarding the definition, that was the initial question. As we heard from Janie, there were some things that happened yesterday in the European legislation on one-stop shop. We in Bulgaria are not the ones that would run ahead of events. We do not have such definition at the moment. And the concept of one-stop shop in our legislation has not been created, but this is going to happen in the next 2 years, and this concept needs to be positioned somewhere in our legislation. And although we do not have such definition, we do have comprehensive service centers in certain cities that are on a project basis principle and are provided online. There are several that are a local initiative, and they also provide consultations to the homeowners. Not all of them are strictly focused on building renovations. There are also ones for energy efficiency, there are ones for energy poverty. The concept of one-stop shop and what it would offer will be very difficult to define in Bulgaria. We do have pilot examples, and maybe this is a good start for those that would come up with a definition, and they could use the good examples that are working at the moment, and we will see what works best in our reality.
Thank you, Ina. Dragomir, I see that you have raised your hand.
Thanks, Svetlo. Just a question: should we proceed in English or in Bulgarian? Because Justina, I guess it's better to be involved, and I
I
don't
But I
know.
have a translation on, so
So you
it's
have
okay
the
for me.
translation. Okay,
Yeah.
right. Because you mentioned that you didn't have the interpretation for
Before I didn't notice.
the presentations. Okay, then I'm continuing in Bulgarian. Добро утро и от мен. Буквално
Good morning from me. Just briefly, I will repeat a thesis that I have been defending for quite some time. I believe that the one-stop shop definition is not necessary. We could find a definition in the National Recovery and Resilience Plan and other good examples that we have, but the opportunities for development and organization of such services are so diverse that a definition would actually restrict them instead of using their full potential. Personally, I think that the market initiative that would give us various configurations of services is the best method to try and introduce this concept in service. Personally, I think not only because I'm also coordinator of a project, but also because I believe in such a type of development, as we said, grassroots development from bottom to top, is that the service during the investment process of renovation, building renovation for the different types of buildings and for REEs, whether in individual households or cooperatives or the industry, are so diverse that their concentration into a summarized service will start from different starting points. Sometimes the municipalities will be the driving force, sometimes the service providers, sometimes the construction companies, and as in Rusen, we have business cooperatives, branch organizations that generate diverse processes. We should not restrict the process, but we should free it and make it possible. And for that, there is slight condition to have a business environment, because unfortunately, with these efforts to continue the intensive grant assistance, we destroy this business development in its birth. This is the main problem that we need to focus our attention to. And in order to prevent going back to these practices that we know that produce no results, as being one of the results that provide support, they do not have any effect whether on urban development or eliminating energy poverty. And because I'm not sure how much time we have in these panels, I will quickly say that I should note that our definitions, the regulations, follow a line with the 5 to 10 year time lag from the European trends. But the problem is not with the time lag or the specific formulations implemented in the legislation. The problem comes with their implementation, with the word compliance, that we should hear quite more often at all levels. And that a word that needs to bring sense until we do everything to have all these mechanisms applied on all levels in all systems that are related to the investment process in the energy system, not just the building. We will remain at the level of wishful thinking and probably this definition, the energy efficiency definition, to see it implemented will be useless without those mechanisms and the sanctions on the implementation, without the financial mechanism. This is what our efforts should be focused on. And if we join our efforts, I believe, or at least I hope, to see in the near future an actual doubling or tripling of the building renovation rates. Thank you, Drago. Before I give the floor to Tsveta, I want to say that Dobromir Vasilev from the Ministry of Regional Development and Public Works will take part because Minister Bonova is unable to participate. I hope we will hear him in our discussion because we have several interesting questions for him and the ministry. Tsveta, you have the floor. I fully agree with what Draguțanev said. In support of what he said, I want to say that, in my opinion, the definition formulation would only make the situation worse. We need more flexibility in the implementation of the idea. We, just like I said in my presentation, in Bulgaria, we have applied a large part of the many opportunities, starting with the investment project where the United Nations joined. That is, we have a non-governmental organization. Then we go to the Bulgarian business that at the regional level were used for the purposes of the last one-stop shop services, going through the municipalities on a national program and to our project, Shirenov, which has a semi-private participation on our part because we offer services on the market principle. That is, we have a history of the various types of services. I would remind that this project, Shirenov Plus, which Draguțanev coordinates, and we are one of the participants in the project for the creation of a network of one-stop shop centers, aim precisely that to offer as participants, and we also agreed to test various business models, and the project purposes is to to recommend policies, and hopefully the ministry will take advantage of these recommendations in its future activities when they try to formulate the definition of one-stop shop. If we do that, I hope they will use our experience, our recommendations, because this is what we will do. We will show the strength and the weaknesses of the various operators, the various players, so that we can come to a flexibility and applicability so that we avoid what happened to the energy poverty definitions and what we think that we hope to see a definition soon, but how this would be applied, we do not know. And regardless of the model that we choose, we need to have in mind that these services need to be supported at least partially. I emphasize the word partially with a grant component and service. And the whole owner should have the option to choose. Maybe there should be regulations and requirements for the operators of the service, but also there should be competition which would only contribute to the better quality of the service. And this competition can be in the access to this resource, that is the homeowner would can choose what to use, but also they can choose between a private business and the municipality. That is, they can choose the voucher that they will receive. They may choose to provide to the municipality, and I think the larger municipalities need to have a competition because they do need more operators in the bigger cities. Thank you, Tsveta. Before I give the floor to Justina, I will give the floor to Ina because she signaled that she wants to say something. In terms of the definition, I do not agree that we do not need the definition, just precisely because of the examples we had. We've been waiting for energy policy definition for a long time, but it finally happened. It also unlocked so many legislative measures that regulate, put requirements. That is, they open the doors in terms of legislation, measures, funding in this area, so that if we talk about one-stop shop and definition of one-stop shop, we need one. And with what Janie presented this morning, it seems that we will have one. So we need to have a regulation of what one-stop shop is, because if there is none, everyone can present themselves as one-stop shop, which would introduce huge speculations, which is typical of Bulgaria. And instead of facilitating the process for the citizens, they will fall into a trap of speculants that would conceal them under the one-stop shop label. And that would bring confusion in the people who can consult them and how much this consultation is expert, not lobbies. Because if there is a company that is aimed to redirecting people to their own companies, which is also typical of Bulgaria, the label one-stop shop, which is freely thrown into the space, will be very convenient scheme to use, roughly said, but this is a very useful scheme for one company, which under the label "We are one-stop shop, come to us for consultation," can redirect the people to companies that we do not know what quality of service they would provide. And at the end of the day, what they will do for the people and what quality they will provide. And now when we see the national program, although it is fully the participation of contractors is fully regulated, the quality is not always good, and the people are not always happy with this quality, which compromises the idea. This is what is going to happen if we do not have a definition, which is why I do not agree. And what Jenny said is certainly showing the common sense of the European Commission and the idea that definition and what this service covers that should be adopted. And this will happen in the next 2 years.
Thank you, Ina. Justina?
Thank you. Just to add on what I have said and maybe explain and relate to what the predecessor said, like Dragomir, outlined that the importance lies in the implementation, and the flexibility is also the word that has appeared here. And obviously this is extremely important, and I do agree on that point. But at the same time, what Ina said, we believe that we need to have some common, minimal denominator, like a starting base and platform, meaning a scope of services that people all over the country can expect from one-stop shop. If we assume, and we do assume, that at least at the beginning there will be co-financed or financed by public money. So if something is co-financed by public money, it should have appropriate level of services. And we do agree that not all over the country the same services will be needed, and not all people will need the same services. So then, but there needs to be some minimum common base that we assume will have to be the same all over. And we did assume in our proposal that, for instance, in some places like large cities where we have financial institutions willing to get involved in this sort of role, we could have one-stop shops working as ESCO companies, so providing additional services, extended services compared to other places. So they would provide, let's say, this basic level, but also an additional level. We cannot expect that in small village in the northern Poland, we will find institution providing these services. So that's the flexibility we are speaking about. And the same, we do believe that there is no way for Polish citizens to benefit from these kind of services if they are paid. I mean, the basic level needs to be free of charge. But again, if somebody wants more complex services, like going through the renovation, to have the monitoring of the process, then we could basically allow for some sort of fees to be present, and that's also this flexibility on, let's say, another level. And what is important from our standpoint is that with all these one-stop shop network, what we want to achieve is, first of all, to scale the services, to scale renovations. So we have this renovation wave coming to Poland, as it was mentioned here, 2-3 times more of renovations have to happen. But at the same time, we want to make the best possible decisions in terms of technical process. So we want that one-stop shops, since they are funded by public money, they actually work for the benefit of the quality, not only quantity. It's similar like in Ireland, they have this one-stop shop system. If citizens utilizes this advice, there is an obligation that the building is being renovated to a certain class. So we are thinking of energy classes system as the system that would allow us to assess which is the quality of renovation. And we would like that if somebody is utilizing public services free of charge, that the quality of renovation is of some minimal level. For instance, for certain buildings, I don't know, 2 classes higher, or some sort of objective measurement. And I believe the energy classes, which we don't have at the moment, but the ministry is working on them, will help us to define which is the standard the building has to be bring into through this advisory network. So the system basically assumes some sort of universality, as I said, but also a lot of flexibility, because obviously we have different users, different buildings, different economic situation throughout the country, and so on. So I believe we're not disagreeing on the main points. Thank you.
Благодаря.
Thank you. Добромир Василев. Good afternoon. Let me support Dragomir Tsanev. He said that in order to have an efficient environment and working one-stop shops, we need to have business to provide the services themselves. Currently, what we have in Bulgaria are projects which are largely, especially when talking about residential buildings, projects with 100% grants. We're trying to emerge from this situation. We'll see how successful this attempt will be. But having 100% grant for building renovation, the policy so far, in view of the large percentage of public resources involved, these projects are implemented by municipalities. They're fighting with their role, from finding willing parties. For example, Burgas municipality, they managed to have 200 buildings to apply for stage 1 under the RRP with 100% grant funding. Then implementation of the entire project and so on. And now municipalities are playing the role of one-stop shop. Another thing which should be considered is that this is a market. Supporting private organizations with public funds has to do with provision of state aid, especially if these are services to do with the preparation of the project. As you know, for some projects which have to do with energy efficiency under the operational programs, this is pure market. There are many companies which are participating on this market. They're servicing customers. There are many projects by enterprises. They choose one company which is responsible for implementing the whole project from the beginning to the end. We have such examples. In Bulgaria, since we need to carry out a reform under the RRP, a network of one-stop shops need to be created. So in Bulgaria, we need to see what the market currently existing is, what the needed services are, at least at this stage, until the procedures requiring co-participation start. The current requirements are for provision of information on what contractors you need to find, what are the eligibility criteria for your building, what do you need for applying, and what we managed to do in order to implement the reform was to include the network of regional information centers, which had its role to popularize the operational programs, and whoever was willing to apply or to look for funding from the structural funds was able to turn to these regional centers. They used to provide information, but not consultancy services. This is important to note. So specific consultancy services mean providing state aid in a specific portion of the market if we want to establish a functioning network of offices. But if the funding is from Europe, for example, if we provide a grant for a person willing to implement an energy efficiency project and they find a person to manage the project now, this is something quite different, but the creation of permanently existing offices performing given functions, in order to go outside of the scope of the provision of general information and information to do with energy efficiency, let me reiterate that we'll probably enter into the domain of state aid, which will limit considerably our opportunity for funding. So for the next 2 years, until the National Decarbonization Fund starts operating, and we hope that it will start the process of provision of financial instruments and loans for energy efficiency projects. The regional information centers and the municipal administrations will be an efficient channel for information for individuals to do with their available options for getting financing for renovating buildings, funding to do with RES, without entering the domain of the specialized consultancy services, which are pure market and with which we will hardly be able to go outside the definition of state aid. And as you know, there are strict rules for state aid. So this is what I wanted to say as regard to what we wanted to achieve and what is provided as a public service is access to information about opportunities for funding, what results can be achieved through this funding, provided to individuals, to companies, but specialized support to do with project management and preparation of a working project and surveying, energy audit can be funded and is being funded under the projects themselves in which the contractor needs to be found to provide this service. But as regards the provision of information, we have tried to provide a minimum for citizens to take care of and to take advantage of. But the most important thing in order for such a service to function is to have a market for it and the energy efficiency to emerge from to stop being funded at 100% grant.
Thank you, Mr. Vasilev. Dragomir Tsanev. Thank you for the opportunity to make a short comment on this topic about the need and applicability to have a definition. And as Mr. Vasilev said, there is a discrepancy between our understanding how they function and what type of services this one-stop shop should provide. If you allow me to simplify the issue, I think one-stop shop remain in the area of providing information administrative services. And there is a separate conversation about the complex service centers, and when there is public funding, the donor is in their right to set a definition and rules how such type of funding should be implemented. But when we have business players who provide this type of service anyway, and they want to expand it, no one can take the right from them to provide this service in the form they choose on the free market. This is what we expect to see happening in the different sectors of sustainable energy that are subject to free market development. That means that these are not mutually exclusive, and they will lead to the provision of various services that every customer would take advantage of in their specific situation. As for the quality of these services, the market itself has its own mechanisms, and it's not the regulations that would ensure quality, because we have sufficient examples of working regulation and not a good quality. We will not here mention the programs with 100% grants and the results that could be criticized. What we know and what that we need to do, just like in any other profession that we want to provide a high level of quality, we need to have a well-developed network, the provision of skills for those providing such services. And this, I am sorry about my liberal thinking. I believe that the market involves competition and capacity of the market participants. So I will say one last sentence. We have the term passive building, which is a pure standard with clear control mechanisms and what should be passive building. But on the market, with about 100 buildings with such certificates, such definition, there is no certificates, which means that people are taking advantage of the certificate. No one can stop them because this is an international voluntary standard. What does it mean for the market development? That based on the information that is available, they will provide the respective information that would meet the requirements. We have to go through that period, but it has its own mechanisms, and imposing sanctions, well, not sanctions, strictly legal sanctions, but imposing restrictions on this type of survey should not be part of the market development. Thank you, Dragomir. I will give the floor to Mr. Dobromir Vasilev to reply to that. It won't be as much as a comment, but as an agreement with what Mr. Tsanev said. As a matter of fact, no one is stopping the players on the free market to offer their services. I fully agree with that. I listed many areas where this is happening. And I will repeat myself, enterprises who want to implement energy efficiency projects. There are companies that offer one-stop shop service from the application through the design to the signing of contract with a contractor. Maybe there are ones that even do the construction works. There are companies that offer one-stop shop service, and how much can we use that funding to build such centers, complex centers and networks? Unfortunately, we already have a developed market that we will intervene with public funds and will tell the companies, now you can come and this one-stop shop will do your project free of charge, or will do the technical passport and energy audit free of charge. And then you can apply. Of course, most will opt for the free of charge document preparation instead of using another player on the market who has the experience, the know-how, a player who can offer much better service, but they will have to pay for the services of that player, which is why I say that creating a network of information and services and its funding with public funds is posing a risk for already developed market that it can develop. I agree that can be destroyed. I agree with Mr. Tsanev, who said that there are market niches for established market players. And unfortunately, we also have market niches that if we have a huge percentage of grants, would make it difficult to create an active market. What we are trying to do with public funding is to provide a minimum information available, and from then on, the market usually pays for that, as we have seen with the residential buildings, where most of them need assistance and they use services to prepare their projects, and they pay a certain amount for that. As I said, this could be funded with public funds, but those that receive the public funds approach differently. For example, they choose the company X that would support the development of the project instead of saying we will create one-stop shop to manage your project. I think the market has proven this to be the better way. I hope I wasn't too detailed in my answer. Thank you, Dobromir. Ина Карова. The discussion accumulated many issues. I will start from the back. The renovation wave is supported only by this 180% and nothing else. The tradition that was imposed that suppressed the rest of the market to develop any type of alternative. And not only that, this spoiled the people. And now, when they have to provide co-funding, they do not want to do it. This dooms the whole renovation wave. And we will see a withdrawal. We see it in a smaller scale with an 80% funding. But multi-home, Mr. Vasiliev was not here in the first part, so I'll repeat myself. But when we meet businesses and financial institutions to come up with an option for the so-called private building renovation, which is not happening thanks to grants and public funds, creates a goodwill in the businesses and institutions to come up with an option, reliable option, which is affordable for the people, to which they can rely on to renovate their buildings. Of course, we have to convince the people that it's good to renovate their buildings. So the two main players on the market are here. The people want to renovate and the others want to help. The issue is to meet them in a common debate. And when we have the one-stop shop service in any type that provides only information to the people, this link between the two players does not happen. Providing information only has not driven the rates in Europe. This is just the Bulgarian principle. I would just ask, and this is where it all ends. On the contrary, in order to keep the renovation wave going, we need to provide A to Z service, whether it will use some type of funding to operate, or it will be self-funded thanks to fees paid by the people. This should not be out of the definition, because besides all that, we need a component facilitation that would help them design the project, because one of the barrier in front of the people is that it is all very complicated. The market of people do not feel confident in what to choose, which stops the process, because the Bulgarians do not want complex things. They want everything from A to Z to be simple, just like anywhere in the world. So the one-stop shop concept is A to Z concept for building renovation, and we should keep it like that. Naturally, the public funding area, the public policy, may include the information component only, as it is in the recovery resilience plan, and as is the European directive for building performance. All these services, should be described as a role. And it is good that we have a discussion that shows that authorities are very well aware of what is needed in the process, and they can continue performing this function. But providing only information does not renovate a building. There should be we should see the other two components: facilitation and implementation. We should provide options for the people, and these options should compete with each other.
Thank you, Ina. Цвета?
Аз съм съгласна
I agree with everything you have said so far. With the representative of the business, let me say that there is no business which expect to be limited after the one-stop shop is introduced. In the presentation, I myself explained the difference between the two things, between the one-stop shop and the comprehensive service centers. We are testing different business models, but this is not the main activity of the organization involved. This is just a side job through which the company could expand its business if they are willing to, with the services which are absolutely necessary and are not provided by public authorities. And I'm going to give you a concrete example. The way I did with the information currently, information centers inform with regard to the existence of the second stage of the program and can help them to fill in their applications and documents. But in these centers, they don't have the necessary capacity to have consultations, to prepare budget, and even if the municipality manages to budget, they cannot allocate the costs per owner in order for them to take informed decision about the own participation by 20%. Because if we have the same two apartments in one building, if we have two apartments who are the same in floorage area, the cost would be different if one of them has new windows while the other doesn't. And there are things which information centers for the public institutions are categorically insufficient, and I would ask Mr. Stoikov, because Friends of the Earth Bulgaria, Za Zemiata, is very engaged in the topic of one-stop shop, and probably this topic will be very popular. Probably we need another discussion, a round table, to focus on the different types of one-stop shops in order to see which is the best option for Bulgaria. But I continue to maintain that indeed we need to research the different options, the different models, and on this foundation to have flexibility for the business to develop in the future. And this should be a business model. When the programs include co-financing, and we expect this will be the case in the future, Madam Karova mentioned it, and Mr. Tsanev mentioned it, we cannot just get information from the public authorities. We need to have parallel provision of services. It's not by chance that European regulations and directives are in this line, that the better form of services is to accompany you throughout the entire journey. And if business is involved, there should be competition, and it should be under no discussion that you cannot give the business some money to service this process. But we need you cannot just provide information. Scalability is not possible by simply providing information. And the owners are not experts. They don't have the capacity. So transferring of responsibilities which used to be with the municipalities to the owners presuppose that there needs to be an intermediary, like a business, because the owners lack the capacity. So if the businesses are provided with some funds, they need to be provided to the potential beneficiaries, and the beneficiaries should choose the business to service them for one service or another. This is the philosophy of our project, and we will provide you with the results of our project to the public authorities so that they can take advantage of our experience. Thank you, Tsveta. Justina.
Okay, just last words because I need to as well switch for another meeting. I'm sorry. So just about this business model, I believe that ultimately, of course, that's the probably solution we are aiming for. But at least in terms of, for Poland, we are not there yet. So businesses can set up one-stop shops, but unfortunately, they have not. Nothing prevents today businesses from providing advisory for homeowners who want to make renovations, but it's not happening for various reasons. I mean, the market is not yet here for these sort of services. So our organization actually represents business, and it was set up by major companies, the leaders on the market in production of the energy efficiency materials and technologies. Nobody has come up with the idea to set up a one-stop shop. So basically, maybe in the future, but today the state has a pivotal role to play. That's, I believe, is the case. Then the second about the scope of services that was mentioned here, we also agree that the information, we are passé beyond this. I mean, people don't need information, they need actually to carry out renovation projects. So when the European Commission has made this distinction between the models on advisory model, supportive model, implementation model, so we are somewhere in between support and implementation, depends on the situation of the house owner and the needs of particular person. But I do believe that we don't need to sponsor with the public money services that will be, you know, like a business card showing which are the possibilities to renovate. We need tools, and tools are the energy calculator, the financial calculator, and services and human person on the ground that will lead the process and that will direct this homeowner to proper, direction and providing her with assistance on the energy audits and all the steps of renovation. So unfortunately, I have to go. So thank you very much for this interesting discussion. And I hope we can continue some time to compare the models and compare the country situation. Perhaps I believe Poland is behind, when it comes to one-stop shops, as we don't have any. So we are starting from a little bit different point. Therefore, perhaps my perception is also a little bit different from yours. So I will be happy to learn more.
Thank you. Thank you for participating in this discussion. За съжаление, не можахме.
Unfortunately, we don't have enough time to discuss all the issues prepared. We have a lot of outstanding questions, at least 10 on my list, so I hope that at one point we will manage to continue our discussion. Now I'll allow the panelists to say one last sentence each and close this panel. Ina, Tsveta. We can continue this discussion, and another event could be organized in order to continue it. Obviously, this will continue to be a hot topic in the years to come until we have clarity. Obviously, we have a need. We commented on this yesterday. We saw huge ambitions as regards energy saving, emissions saving, limiting particulate matter. The ambitions are high. We're trying to achieve them. We in Bulgaria are doing whatever is possible. But what will happen in 2030, 2050? This is the huge question. we cannot keep raising the bar, but we need to make more efforts. So we need more forums in order to start from the same page and start working together. I will reiterate the recommendation to have in-depth discussion with all the arguments on the table for or against one model or another, because this discussion needs to be provided. It's not by chance that in the one-stop shop basics we have three models, and the one we discussed today following the reform under the RRP is the first one, providing of information. But obviously it is insufficient, extremely insufficient. However, the nuances in the third and second model, which the right approaches and policies are and how to structure them, probably could be made clearer if we have another discussion in the future. But I'm convinced that if we are transitioning towards a mixed form of financing with the attraction of private funding providers, this cannot happen only with the information providing one-stop shop, even less so if this information is provided by the regional information center, because the residential policy is within the domain of the local authorities, and we cannot expect that somebody living in a small village or town will go to the regional center in order to get information. These services need to be developed at the local level, and the more we unify our understanding of what is a working model in the European scale and how we can adapt it to Bulgaria, and on the basis of the accumulation gained in the future, the one-stop shop service will be more efficient, and this in turn will allow scaling up the renovation process, and we'll have financial instruments to provide financial participation options of the users, the owners. Thank you, Tsveta. I would like to thank all participants in this discussion panel.
Today. Yeah, thank you all one more time for the active participation. And tomorrow we're going to continue with the last day of our conference. And the focus will be on the heating and cooling plans resulting from the Energy Efficiency Directive. What is the aim of such plans, and what would this mean on a practical level for a municipality that should carry them, and what steps should a municipality do, and how the national authorities could support them. So tomorrow we will feature representatives from around CE and the EU in general on how we could use this plan to create step-by-step local guides on phasing out fossil and transitional fuels from the heating and cooling sectors. Thank you all for your active participation today, and looking forward to seeing you all again at the same time tomorrow. Now I'm just going to try to share my screen and show one of the videos that we shot last year about the one-stop shops. Just bear with me for a second.
Енергийният офис отвори врати през 2023 година като физически офис, иначе преди това съществуваше още от 2022, но тогава беше просто един имейл.
The one-stop shop was opened as a physical office, and quite soon the people recognized it as a place where they can receive information for energy efficiency. The moment they opened the energy office, that coincided with the National Building Renovation Program, and my colleagues took the brunt of the work in providing consultation, the document preparation of the people who were most active about the building renovation under the Recovery and Resilience Plan. We had most of the issues were there in terms of administrative and all different issues, because there were various issues, empty apartments, uninhabited apartments. What we have most focus on is those that were ineffective in terms of energy. The program that involved the heating and cooling devices, most often people wanted to replace their air conditioners because the electricity price is the lowest. The REL's program drew most interest in the villages in Burgas area, but not only there, in other areas as well. But maybe they did not, most did not have offices. The services that we provide at the moment is providing consultations in technical issues such as energy audit, consultations in terms of what types of insulation materials to be used, the various RES appropriate to use in the building renovation, their advantages, and services, consulting services about the various types of funding under the various European Union programs that provide for measures for energy efficiency.
Thank you all for participating one more time, and hope to see you again tomorrow.
Thank you.